Hello and welcome to Clairvoyant Conversations. My name is Alexander Creek. I am your host. I'm an astrologer, numerologist, and psychic medium and psychic development teacher. So on this podcast, I talk about stars, numbers, metaphysical stuff, psychic stuff, its intersection with pop culture and the news and what's going on, and really kind of whatever I want to talk about. Sometimes I have on other fascinating guests in the world of metaphysics, in the paranormal, and sometimes it's just me talking about the weather forecast or whatever I want to talk about. So this week is actually the weekly astrology forecast for the week of August 16th through August 22nd. We actually have quite a bit this week, and I really like it. Fortunately, it's like, yes, it's actually really, we have a really fortunate, lovely full moon this week in Aquarius, conjunct Jupiter, the planet of expansion, abundance, and it's like this big kind of Santa Claus teacher planet. So before we dive into this week's forecast, as well as what you can expect for your rising sign / sun sign, I am going to talk about really quickly. I'm actually going to be doing just little mini kind of astrology weather forecast readings for 25 bucks a pop. This is a video reading, so you'll receive a link to a video that you can go watch with me talking about your chart. So if you are interested in the how the current astrological weather is affecting you right now, or kind of generally what to expect for around the next month, I will talk about a little bit about the new moon, the full moon, the numerology going on in your chart, as well as different kind of planetary transits that I think are important. So this way people can buy or have access to a reading with me that's a little more accessible than, dropping a whole bunch of money on a natal chart and future forecast readings. So that way you have a little bit of insight that can actually go a long way. And I've had success with these in the past for when I had Patreon. And I'm going to offer these to the general public. So 25 bucks if you are interested in getting a little mini astrology video reading. It does take a couple days for me to generate that reading, just depending on, the details. If you are interested in purchasing one of these readings, you can head over to actually my Instagram. So it'll just be instagram.com/dogstar oracle, or you can just kind of search within the Instagram app for Dogstar Oracle. If you don't have Instagram and you want to buy a reading, anyway, I don't have it on my website yet, so you can go ahead and email me at acreek, so AKRIECH at dogstaroracle.com. You can find all of these links below as well in the show notes if you're listening on audio, so on Apple Podcasts or Google, or if you're listening or watching on YouTube, you can find all this in the comments as well. So that's I'm going to have that for the an undetermined length of time, just because I think it's fun and it's easy for me as well. So, and I really love doing those readings. So, okay, so let's go ahead and let's get to this week's forecast. Okay, so first things first this week, we actually, so today's Monday, August 16th. So Venus, planet of love, beauty, relationships, self-worth, money, aesthetics, the goddess of love, okay, entered one of her home signs, Libra. It's referred to as she's in domicile in Libra. So we just left a Venus in Virgo transit. Venus in Virgo, she's technically in fall in Virgo, meaning because she is exalted in Pisces. She is celebrated in the sign of Pisces. The opposite sign, Virgo, she in traditional astrology, it's considered that she doesn't quite do as well, or she doesn't function the functions of Venus necessarily as effectively in Virgo, right? It doesn't mean that if you have Venus in Virgo that that's a bad thing at all, but Venus just has an easier time with Venusian themes, right? Relationships, beauty, money, when she is in Libra. So that is something to celebrate her coming home to Libra. So in general, so things with meeting people, relationships, right? Libra is it's a sign that wants to relate. It's a sign that wants to enjoy. It's a sign that it's all about balance and aesthetics and art and beauty. So this is going to be, I think, a really lovely transit just for the collective, just to kind of, I think, lighten the mood a little bit. Excuse me. I would also say social causes and fairness. This is maybe going to highlight some of that as well, right? Because I think I do tend to associate like Libra with like civil rights and like, and I would also maybe put Aquarius there too, but because Libra is all about fairness and balance, that may also be spotlighted in the collective to some degree. I'm going to go over where exactly Venus is going through your chart, depending on your rising and sun sign at the end of the podcast when I talk about the full moon. So stay tuned for that as well, where you can maybe best take advantage of the energy or just simply enjoy the energy of Venus in Libra. I will say in general, a general note for Venus in Libra, she is approaching a trine with Saturn, planet of like the serious planet that wants you to get serious and create permanence. And that's going to be a theme around the full moon as well. A trine is a harmonious aspect. So there's going to be, I think, a grounding influence to Venus in Libra while she is in Libra, because she'll be trining Saturn in a few days. So this is going to kind of give Venus a little bit more of a serious flavor, or just more an interest in creating like permanent, steady relationships. You know, like this is not the energy necessarily for a like get rich quick thing. This is more like I'm gonna work. There is, I think, more benefit right now to like working on things the correct way, basically, to creating some permanence and some long term. Might be a good time to like look at long term finances. Be like, okay, I'm spending $5 a day at Starbucks. Maybe I should just buy the espresso machine, right? Because like Venus in Libra, like it might mean like treat yourself a little bit, but maybe treat yourself in a way that would bring some long-term benefit rather than just like a short-term pleasure. Okay, that's kind of that's what I want to say with Venus in Libra. And same thing with relationships. It's like looking at the quality of your relationships right now and saying, so this may be actually be a good time, depending on where Venus is in your chart or just in general, right? To meet someone or to deepen a relationship with someone that is of quality, and that is of a quality relationship, something that would bring you long-term benefit, right? Depending on the effort that you put into it. That's kind of the energy with Venus trining Saturn. And also looking at, I would also say looking at your values, the things that are valuable to you, because Venus does rule money, but it also rules values and self-worth. So I would say like, hey, where am I shortchanging myself? But because Venus is trining Saturn, it's a flowing energy. It's not going to be this hard gut punch reality check. It's more just like a flowing, like, okay, I should probably think about getting serious about this kind of feeling. I'm actually feeling that myself as my sun is in Taurus. Venus rules Taurus, right? So I definitely feel I definitely notice when Venus changes signs. I can feel that shift in energy. Although Venus is going into my 12th house because I'm a Scorpio ascendant, so it is saying maybe it's time to release some things or to recharge, that there would maybe be time best kind of retreating a little bit. There's going to be a little bit of that energy for me as well. But let's keep going. And by the way, if you wanted to skip all of the general forecast, I do encourage you to watch it, but if you're really in a hurry, you just want to get to your sun sign or rising sign forecast. If you're on YouTube, you can definitely click on the time code that will do that. The podcast, I don't do that because it takes too much time to edit. So you'll kind of just have to skip to the end, but I do go in the order of the signs. So okay, so August 18th, there is a conjunction between Mercury and Mars. Mars and Mercury are both in Virgo. So there's a couple different things here. So Mars rules like cutting and separating and removing, especially in Virgo, because Virgo is such a really good editor. So this is a highly mental energy. It is, I would say, combative energy, because Mercury rules the mind, the intellect, communication. It is in domicile in Virgo. It rules Virgo. Mercury does really well in Virgo. It's a sharp mind. So that's something that we can all take advantage of right now, right? However, Mars and Mercury are basically blending their energies together, and Mars is the planet of the warrior. It's the sign, it's the planet of war, our batteries, how we assert ourselves, how we go about actually getting the things done that we need to get to, like hunting our prey, getting our dinner. Since they're both going to be in Virgo, someone pointed out on Twitter, I can't remember who it was, but it was like, it's like there could be verbal sparring around this day. So I would just be cautious I would take the extra mile to be kind with your words. There may be more of an emphasis on like, there may be like, and actually, but it's this. It's actually, this is the correct way to do something. I don't know about you, but you're wrong, right? There can be that energy because we have so much of that combative energy, but it's in Virgo. And I would also say don't be too hard on yourself either, because you can probably direct those thoughts to yourself. Like, but this is a good day to be efficient. This is a good day to edit. This is a good day for anything, that does require some mental concentration. I think on the Astrology podcast on iTunes, hosted by Chris Brennan, they were talking about it. Sort of like it's almost if you could imagine like doing an intellectual task, but it's just if there's an intellectual task that requires a lot of energy or brain power or focus, it's a really good day to do that. You just don't want to get too carried away, basically, is kind of what I'm trying to say here. And also watch being argumentative with others as well. Okay, so especially if I just moved in with a partner, I told my partner like August 18th, let's not be too snippy with each other, because there's a chance that shit can get out of control. Okay, so no being critical on August 18th. So Uranus, the planet of revolution, eccentricity, of genius, and disruption, stations retrograde on August 19th. So I want to say, first of all, an outer planet like Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, going wow, words. Okay, those are hard today. Uranus going retrograde is not a big deal. So you may come across some like TikTok video of something like, oh my God, it's going to change everything. It's unbelievably stupid, so just don't listen to it. But I do want to mention, the couple days around when a planet does station retrograde, you do tend to feel its energy a little bit more. I would say with the outer planets, I'm not sure how much you do feel those, but I guess time will tell. But on August 19th, Uranus does station retrograde. So whenever Uranus stations retrograde, or really any planet goes retrograde, there is this kind of greater need for inner awareness around that planet's sort of like the topics that planet governs, right? So since Uranus is about expansion, rebellion, disruption, genius, and really change, right? Where we need to kind of expand and change, where we need greater freedom. You may be thinking about those sort of wherever Uranus is in your chart, depending on the house that it is transiting through. I think there will be more greater awareness paid to where you may need more freedom in your life, or where you have a lack of freedom in your life. So the only thing I'm really going to say with that is there will be a more kind of going introverted, or going inward around those topics. Okay, since Uranus is in Taurus, Taurus kind of governs food sources, currency, the economy. There may be news associated with, I would maybe say, Bitcoin or any of the cryptocurrency stuff, or anything in our kind of food supply chains. And maybe rethinking some things, or kind of going back over something previously sort of developed around those things. So kind of general forecast with that, but I did want you to make you aware of it, especially, and the dates for this are August 19th, 2021 to January 18th, 2022. So let's go ahead and move on. Where am I? Okay. Okay, so then very next day, the sun in Leo is opposing, and we're almost done with Leo season, by the way. We're going to be going into Virgo season pretty shortly, around August 22nd, August 23rd. But the sun is in Leo. It is opposing Jupiter, the planet of luck, abundance, expansion, and really kind of good fortune. And of course, Jupiter, like can be done to excess because Jupiter is like, let's make everything big. Sometimes it's like, okay, maybe I would say, when Jupiter is out of control, it's almost like a party that just goes on for way too long and gets way too big. But in general, I think with this energy on August 20th, and I'll bring this again with the full moon, the Sun opposing Jupiter just kind of indicates this is definitely time to see the glasses half full, be optimistic about something. This is energy that is expansion, that is expansive and fortunate. It may So I think wherever you are directing your focus, it is a good time to kind of put yourself out there, to expand, to perhaps take a little bit of a calculated risk or put yourself out there in some way, right? But this does tend to be more of a more or less a quote unquote lucky day, I would say, around August 20th. August 20th, there's another influence happening that same day. Mercury, the planet of communication and the intellect, Mercury, planet of communication and intellect, will be making a harmonious aspect to Uranus, recently stationed retrograde in Taurus. So Mercury, planet of communication, making a flowing aspect to Uranus, planet of disruption, change, and freedom. I would say this is definitely perhaps like, this could be a date in which you have like a really brilliant idea. There could be something that you're all of a sudden very interested in. This could also be, a communications project where it is sort of like thinking outside the box a little bit. This is basically what this energy is. It is thinking outside the box. It is Mercury in really, it's really concentrated in Virgo. It is trining Uranus and Taurus. So there is an earthy kind of feeling to this. So I would really use this energy, especially if, let's say, you're working on a podcast or a YouTube video. It could be a really, really amazing time to film something or to write something that would maybe impact a lot of people. But I would maybe keep a journal handy if you have like kind of ideas or downloads on this day. That might be something just to kind of keep an eye on, okay? But really thinking outside the box. So we are already to the full moon stuff. So let's go ahead and talk about the full moon in Aquarius. So let's talk about the general energy first before we talk about the let's close this stupid pop-up here. God damn it. All right, here we go. So, full moon in Aquarius. So what does Aquarius represent? Well, it is part of the Leo-Aquarius axis, right? So Leo is sort of love given, right? It's about the heart. Aquarius is about kind of love received. And Aquarius kind of rules... Aquarius is an air sign. It is a fixed air sign. So fixed meaning there are three different modalities in astrology. There's cardinal, fixed, and mutable. Cardinal is signs that start things. They start actually like the seasons. Fixed is sort of like consistent energy. Fixed signs are Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, and what else am I missing? Aquarius, the sign that we're talking about. So, Aquarius is like, it's not like a super, I wouldn't say it's like a super flighty air sign, right? It's like a sign, like it is an air sign that's going to be more or less consistent about things. Aquarius rules themes like individuality, your ideals, social responsibility. The term humanitarianism is thrown in with like the higher vibrations of Aquarius. I would also say rebellion as well, or unpredictable energy with Aquarius. And also Aquarius does rule topics like your casual friends and your colleagues. Also like clubs and organizations and groups where you sort of share the same ideals as the people that are in it is also an Aquarian theme as well, right? So there may be awareness on social issues at this time. There may be awareness as to your own individuality and how you choose to maybe how you want to be different than others, or like be different than the groups or the friends that you associate with. And it's a good time for I think mental kind of energy or mental projects overall because it is in an air sign. So the full moon is at the full moon specifically when it takes place will be on Sunday, August 22nd, 2021 at 6:02 a.m. Mountain Time. So that would be 8:02 a.m. Eastern Time if you are in the United States. In some parts of the world, I think it'll be on August 23rd. So a full moon always brings awareness, illumination, completion, and culmination. And this full moon is actually at 29 degrees because we are just about to go into Virgo season. So 29 degrees, I think it's called the anaretic degree, if I'm not mistaken, in astrology, is a kind of a critical degree because it basically means, in this case, because we're just about to go into Virgo season, Leo season's almost done. So whenever a planet is at 29 degrees, especially in your natal chart, it's really kind of saying loudly, pay attention to these themes. There is a karmic theme or there is a karmic kind of element with 29. If you have a planet at 29 degrees in your chart in a given sign, it really is saying pay attention to those themes because I think those themes will be playing out very loudly in your life, right? So I think the Aquarius energy is going to be very loud at this full moon because of it being at 29 degrees. Also, keep in mind, this is the second full moon in Aquarius, actually in a row. We had a full moon in Aquarius last month around July, about exactly a month ago. So about July 23rd, 24th is when we had a full moon in Aquarius. So it's like the first Aquarius full moon brought up, sort of initially illuminated these themes, these Aquarian themes in your chart. So the second full moon may be kind of completing these things that kind of came up, these things that initially kind of cropped up around July 23rd are going to be finishing up, I think, around August 22nd, 23rd. For me specifically, I'm a Scorpio rising with a Taurus sun. The full moon was in my fourth house of home and family and roots around July 23rd, 24th. That's around when I started, basically, that is around when I had to start packing, getting ready to move a couple states away in with my partner, right? And so we've spent the past month doing in this process, slowly getting into our apartment, slowly getting everything together. We are basically just getting done with unpacking and kind of nesting. We have finally sort of like, okay, everything's mostly put away, it's mostly together. For me, I think that's what my full moon is going to be about, is like finally this home stuff is going to be done. So I thought it was interesting, and so I'm happy about this full moon because it does seem to be really pretty fortunate. There's a lot of fortunate energy around this full moon. So the traditional ruler of Aquarius is Saturn. And Saturn is at 8 degrees of Aquarius right now. And so Saturn is making, during the time of the full moon, is making that beautiful trine to Venus. So there is a theme around this full moon, like I kind of mentioned earlier with Venus and Libra. So there is a feeling of thinking about maybe long-term planning with your finances. This full moon is very supportive of that. Maybe bringing in a financial opportunity that would be a benefit to you in the long term. This could also be about thinking about, again, like relationships that would bring you long-term benefit as well. And around this time, you may be deepening your relationships, or there may be a feeling of commitment there, because Saturn brings commitment, especially when it's trining Venus, and Venus rules these things around love, relationships, and money, right? So anything with those topics, there's going to be commitment or seriousness, but in like a really kind of flowing, constructive way. Another thing to keep in mind is the modern ruler of Aquarius. I don't use the modern ruler so much. I usually use traditional, but in this case, I really want to pay attention to it because Uranus is a modern ruler of Aquarius. Uranus is about rebellion and disruption and that kind of energy. It just went retrograde a couple days prior, so that's kind of pulling focus to me and telling me to pay attention to it. So there may be some energy just kind of telling you to go inward, especially around these themes of maybe identity or your ideals, or wherever Uranus is kind of transiting in your chart. I just wanted to mention that because that's also going to be a piece of this energy. So the full moon is conjunct Jupiter. That is fucking outstanding. Pardon my language. Fucking outstanding. So Jupiter has spent the last few months in Pisces from May 13th to I think July 29th. So if we just got a taste of Jupiter in Pisces during the summer, during spring and summer. It is retrograding back into Aquarius to kind of finish its job. Jupiter tends to bring solutions to problems. And Jupiter in Aquarius, I think, is going to be really constructive in figuring out, I think, the pandemic, a lot of stuff with pandemic, right? Because in the United States, on May 13th, on my birthday, I noted this on May 13th because I was like, oh, when the CDC changed its mask recommendations right on my birthday, right when Jupiter went into Pisces. And I was like, that's not going to stick because Jupiter is going to go retrograde, right back into Aquarius. Again, this is the United States. This doesn't reflect like the rest of the world necessarily with that, but I was kind of keeping track of those Jupiter transits when it came to CDC mask recommendations in the United States. So in some sense, I think Jupiter being back in Aquarius is going to help create solutions to problems and help kind of fix things. So it's not going to be this necessarily happy, dreamy time that Jupiter in Pisces may be, but it's still like Jupiter in Aquarius is like, okay, we got to fix this stuff. So Jupiter coming back into the part, into whatever part of the chart the full moon is in, is going to help bring solutions to that area of your life. It's going to help bring expansion, abundance, optimism into that area, some luck, I think, into that area of your life as well. Because this, again, is a very fortunate new moon, because fortunate is always a word we kind of associate with Jupiter most of the time. So I would expect maybe, and it could also bring in themes of travel as well, or freedom. Actually, I wouldn't say freedom. I would just say themes of expansion, perhaps travel, but generally bringing solutions, expansion, and abundance to this full moon energy, okay? So I just wanted to mention that. So definitely glass half full, maybe set some intentions and just set intentions like if you need a miracle, not saying like, oh, definitely a miracle for everyone, but this is definitely the astrological kind of energy, the magic around this full moon can really bring some really amazing solutions. So I would just kind of keep that in mind and maybe set intentions for something like that, depending on the house that it is transiting in. The last thing with this full moon is Mars, currently in Virgo, so that planet of action and energy and aggression, is making a flowing aspect to Uranus, planet of change, freedom, and disruption and rebellion. So this is like, if we had energy earlier in the week that's like thinking outside the box, this is definitely time to act outside the box. This can be acting on those genius kind of ideas or those brilliant plans that you may have come up with earlier in the week. And this is kind of like boldly taking a risk or boldly taking action on something. There can maybe be the urge to be a little hot-headed with this energy, but since it is a trine to Uranus, since it's a flowing aspect, I'm not that concerned about it. But there's definitely a feeling of boldness with this energy and really kind of acting on something and acting on something in a way that's a little unconventional, or that will bring you greater freedom, or that it's just going to require a little bit of boldness. But together, I would say with the genius, disruption, brilliant energy of Uranus combined with Mars in Virgo, especially if you have thought this through on some level, because Mars in Virgo will think through something or kind of go about it in a very kind of exacting way. There's energy around this full moon that does support that as well. So all in all, I think a really, really beautiful, fortunate full moon, one that I'm quite excited about. I am interested. I did want to mention, this is kind of United States. Well, actually, this is an international thing, but the United States pullout of Afghanistan is going disastrously. And I really feel for the people that live there. And I'm interested in what's going to happen around that, because if I'm not mistaken, the United States chart has Aquarius. I think it's an Aquarius moon. If I'm not mistaken, there's something in Aquarius in the United States' birth chart. And since we're at 29 degrees of Aquarius, this sort of humanitarian issues, right? So I'm hoping Jupiter is going to bring hopefully some solutions to this. We will see. We will see what happens, but this is not going to go away. I definitely see this as being spotlighted with this full moon. So let's talk about forecasts by sign.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get into these full moon horoscopes now. So again, I just wanted to mention from earlier, if you want something a little bit more in depth, and I'm doing those video readings for 25 bucks. That's just about the current kind of the current astrological and numerology weather around you at this moment. You can find the links to that in the show notes or the comment section. And again, I am available for individual sessions as well. I do it by phone or by Zoom video call. I record them for you. It is an in-depth kind of natal chart, so meaning birth chart as well as future forecast. I combine numerology and astrology for that. And I also do intuitive and psychic readings as well. So if you're interested in that or private psychic development training, make sure to visit my website or the links below. Okay, enough self-promo. So the full moon in Aquarius for Aries rising. Again, I think it's more accurate to do these forecasts by rising sign. So if you know your birth time or you have access to finding it out, the best way to find that out or find out what your rising sign would be to visit my favorite astro website right now, which is astro-seek.com. You can just click on finding your birth chart. And just go with the rising sign. If you don't know rising, go ahead and just listen to your sun sign. If you know both, listen to rising and sun. So, Aries rising, we have a full moon in your 11th house. So these, the place of culmination, completion, awareness, insight, that kind of stuff. Again, repeating themes from last month because we are on our second full moon in Aquarius. This is going to be in your 11th house of friendships, of, I would say, casual friendships. I would say colleagues, any clubs or organizations that you belong to. This is like about other people, and also like, you joining with other people, and maybe a club or organization, something that you belong to. Maybe it's time to be done with that, or maybe it's just there's a lot of spotlighted attention on it. I would say also with your casual friend kind of clique, it just might be a really social time for you. And I would also, this house also rules kind of like your goals or your wishes, what you were wishing for. So that might be a time to kind of reevaluate your goals. Or perhaps you sort of fulfill something that, that you've been kind of wanting for a long time. Maybe you finally worked toward it and manifested it. Venus is in Libra as well. So Venus for you is actually going to be in your partnership sector. So this could be a really fantastic time to meet people. I think that you'll come across as more pleasing to the general public and more pleasing in relationships. It just seems to be a very kind of social time for you. So this could be a time that you deepen a romantic relationship. This could be just a really good time for any client work if you were working with client or the general public or anything with partnerships. Venus is here to kind of smooth things over, basically, and provide some opportunity. So good time for relationships for you in general for the next few weeks. So full moon for Taurus rising. So this is going to be in your 10th house of career, of reputation, of authority figures. So I think maybe you're completing, some milestone in career. There might be just more of a spotlight on you. Your bosses will certainly notice you. So definitely pay attention to that. There's a duality, or there's a balance right now between home and family, your roots, and your authority figures, and your career, your reputation. So there's definitely something along this axis that's happening for you or completing out for you at this time. Again, remember Jupiter is present here too. So this could bring you an opportunity or could provide some sort of expansion, abundance, something lucky or something fortunate with your career, right? Or maybe expand the way that you are seen by people, because the 10th house is how we're seen by people, right? It's kind of our the legacy that we may leave behind. I think this is especially work focused for you because Venus and Libra is going to be in your 6th house of your daily work routine, and daily work routine and health, and also pets. So basically, I can maybe see you just might be getting along well with coworkers right now, or you might be there might be something Venusian or pleasing around work right now. Venus is kind of smooth things out with your. Also, this is a good time to kind of pursue anything health related. To maybe join a new gym or kind of get some exercise. There's like enjoyment to be found in taking care of your physical vessel. And I would just say anything work related. This is a really kind of work related full moon for you. So if you're seeking additional work projects, this is also a good time to seek those out, because I feel like authority figures may notice you. And this in general is a good time to kind of seek additional projects. So definitely work and health kind of focused full moon for you. So Gemini rising. So we have this full moon is going to be in your 9th house. And Venus in Libra is in your 5th. So let's talk about the full moon first. So the full moon in your 9th house of long distance travel, anything in publishing or sales, anything in higher education and philosophy, or your beliefs. These themes have been present since last month when we had that, because we are on a second full moon in Aquarius. So think about the first full moon around July 23rd and 24th, where we had that first full moon in Aquarius. So this may be, you may be planning a long-term, like a long distance trip, or there can be something involved with other cultures. Again, this could be about publishing or sales, taking some sort of higher education classes. It could be anything with, and I do kind of put astrology here as well, because this is like a study. Astrology is like a deepened study of something. So this could be a time that you really are studying that, or just something that you are engaging your higher mind. Venus is going to be in your 5th house of romance. Okay, great. So I was like, oh yeah, awesome. So for the next few weeks, Venus is going to be in your 5th. So I would say in general, there are opportunities just for like pleasing connections with people. This is a house of sex. So if you have not been laid in a long time, take advantage while Venus is in Libra. That will definitely find you a hookup if that's what you were interested in. But dating, romance, definitely. Anything with creative self-expression with Venus in Libra, I think it's going to heighten your creative gifts. And also just, I think, gift of gab, right? Because Gemini rising, Gemini sun has the ability to communicate, to write, to think. So Venus in Libra is going to really kind of deepen, or I think make more pleasing your creative output. If you deal with children, if you have children, this is a time. This is a good time for that as well, to maybe deal with your kids or have fun with your children, something of that nature. But definitely a creative, romantic time for you while Venus is in Libra. Again, for you, I would also say this may be a time that you could find something deeper as far as romance as well, that you could find a more serious relationship, because Venus is going to be trining Saturn, right? So, so happy full moon to you, Gemini. So full moon in Aquarius for Cancer rising is going to be in your 8th house, and Venus will be in your 4th. So full moon for Cancer rising is going to take place. It's definitely more of an emotional or introspective, I think, full moon for Cancer, because for a couple reasons. 8th house is transformation. And it's also just things that are not visible. So I would say this maybe has to do with transformation or emotional healing for you. I would also say anything with joint finances, or like merging of energies, because 8th house, like 7th house is where you are committed to a partner. 8th house is when you start to merge your stuff and your resources together. I know my partner has Cancer rising. So for him, this full moon may be about like, oh, we're merging our stuff, we're merging some of our money, we're merging our resources, intimacy. There's a lot of things around intimacy and resources with this full moon in the 8th house. This is also just a financial full moon for you too. So I would say maybe bringing some solutions or some expansion or abundance, insight, culmination, awareness to credit cards, student loans, debts, things like that, because that's the kind of money the eighth house rules. Student aid, unemployment money, bonuses, inheritance. There might be something that comes up with these themes. Venus is in your fourth house right now, so just dealings with family, dealings with the home and like dealings with your home, your roots. That is kind of going to be where the joy is for you with Venus and Libra. So I definitely would say maybe nest a little bit. Call your grandmother, call your mom if you can. And this is definitely a nesting energy, and also a good time for ancestor work as well, kind of working with your ancestral energies to maybe clear some things or something along those lines, but definitely kind of an under the surface full moon in Venus and Libra for Cancer rising. Leo. So Leo rising. So you have your full moon in Aquarius in your seventh house. So Aquarius is you're kind of spotlighted actually during this full moon for sure, because Aquarius is your opposing sign. It's kind of your partner, and the sun is currently still in Leo during this full moon. So this is definitely, I think, partnership related for you. Dealings with partners, maybe some completion, culmination, insight, awareness into your partnerships right now. But again, it could honestly be that your partner has a lucky break. It could be nothing to do with you. It could just be your partner has some sort of lucky break or has something going on with them that is more in the direction of expansion and abundance, or just some sort of spotlight. But definitely this full moon is spotlighting your partnerships. It did again last month as well. And this is kind of wrapping things up around that. And keep in mind, you do have Saturn and Jupiter both in your seventh house for a period of time. So there is a focus on building relationships, strengthening your relationships, sort of learning lessons around relationships and also being expanded by them. So a lot of stuff around relationships for you for the next few months. And I think a couple years while Saturn is in Aquarius. So definitely partnership focused. Also anything with clients. This is good for client work. If you are freelancing or if you deal with clients or the general public, really good energy for that. And definitely a focus on maybe you're landing some other contract or something with a client. Okay. So Venus in Libra for you is in your third house. So definitely good for communication, anything communications, writing projects, also your car too, or any kind of mode of kind of short term, like kind of short day travel transportation. Anything with siblings as well can also smooth over relationships with siblings. But I would definitely say this is part of like the axis of the mind. So anything with the mind, with the intellect, with communication, the communications projects, really, really good time to write, I think, or kind of write things down or communicate, podcast, anything like that while Venus is in Libra, because we have also these other planets in Virgo that are also good at writing and communication. So definitely a good time to be a writer, I think, or communicator of any sort with Venus in Libra if you're Leo rising. So Virgo rising, sorry, that's me cracking my knuckles. Gross, my apologies. Virgo rising, we have our full moon in Aquarius in your sixth house of home. Nope. That's not it. Full moon is in Aquarius in your sixth house of daily work and routine and health. So I think hopefully, I know a lot of Virgo risings are having some health issues, or there is more attention being paid to health right now. So hopefully this full moon maybe brings some insight and awareness and maybe some solutions to health related matters, because Jupiter is in that sixth house right now. So Jupiter is back to kind of help you figure out solutions. So this could be about health, maybe figuring out some solutions for health, or maybe even expanding your wellness, right? This could be a good time to go back to the gym or to focus on eating better, taking care of yourself. And this could also be surrounding a pet as well. There could be something going on with a pet, but hopefully it's, again, bringing some solutions, right? Or just some sort of insight or culmination or attention being paid to pets. I would also say with work, definitely a huge work influence here too. So this, you could be wrapping something up or completing something regarding your work, your workplace, or with a coworker during this time. So keep an eye on that, Virgo risings. And we also have Venus in your second house right now. So this is a good time to be earning some motherfucking money, pardon my language. Earning some money, okay? Because Venus in Libra, it is strong in Libra. It is transiting through your second house of earned income, self-worth. So this is a good time to basically to bring home the bacon, to make an extra paycheck, to maybe bring in an additional source of income or making more income, something along those lines. Also to strengthen your self-worth, like because money is what we value, and this is kind of like how you value yourself as well. So I think kind of giving your self-worth a little boost here will be good for you. There does seem to be a lot of kind of correlation between money and work right now for you, so kind of keep an eye on that. But definitely, I think maybe bringing home some extra money is definitely possible for you with Venus in Libra. So, Libra rising, we have a full moon in Aquarius in your 5th house. So, where am I? Hold on, I need to pause this for one quick second. Okay, I just needed to pause for a quick coffee break there. So, Libra rising, full moon in your 5th house, and Venus and Libra in your 1st house. So, Libra, let's talk about you. Yes. All right. So, the full moon is actually in your romance sector of your chart. So, if you've had like an ongoing affair with someone, ongoing kind of like flirtation, and you're dating someone, this, you can maybe take things to the next level. You could also maybe decide to part ways. But I would kind of expect whatever decision you make is something that's going to expand you, because of that influence with the influence of Jupiter. So definitely attention being paid around spotlight on romance, anything creative, self-expression, arts here as well. This is a really good time to play, just in general. This is time to play and have pleasure, I think, for you, Libra. I would also, anything related to children, if you have children, there could be just maybe something going on with them, or more attention being paid with them, something going on in their lives. Libra with Venus in your 1st house, this is really time to, I think, indulge. I think definitely it's time to indulge. This could be a time that you may want to sort of rethink your appearance, or sort of treat yourself, get a new haircut, new outfit, something like that. Just because Venus going through your first is like your identity, your approach to the world, your physical body, your appearance. And with Venus in your home sign, Venus ruling Libra, anything with aesthetics and beauty and looking pleasing, I think a focus really, because with Libra rising, like your ability to connect and make people feel comfortable and be pleasing and this kind of thing is one of your powers, right? So Venus going through your 1st, I think you're going to feel a boost there, and also a boost in relationships, a boost in how you get along with people. So if you've been single for a long time, this is definitely, I think, good energy to really meet someone new and have it be have that relationship go in a more serious direction, or go into more of a deeper direction. But this, just overall, I think this is definitely time for. I think it should be a relatively more pleasing time, because Venus is in your sign. So just kind of keep an eye on that. So definitely a time to kind of focus on your identity, and also on romance and fun and being creative. And any dealings with children, I think, will come up during this time too. So yay, you, Libra. Full moon in Aquarius for Virgo rising. Venus in Libra for Virgo. Nope, I'm going backwards. Hold on. Yeah, no, we're on to Scorpio. I was going backwards. So full moon in Aquarius for Scorpio rising. So definitely something with home and family for you. You're wrapping something up with your home, family, real estate matters, something of that nature. Something with your family or ancestry or roots. Definitely a nesting time, I think, in wrapping something. And there's also a duality with you in your career at this time too, because the sun is in your 10th house of career right now. So I feel like you're wrapping something up with that, but definitely a focus on the home, the nest, the family, something of that nature, completing something out, some sort of project is, I think, coming to fruition or culmination. Again, for me, I said earlier, like we're just finishing moving into our new place. We're just finishing unpacking and nesting. So that's kind of what's going on with me with that. And then also, let's look at, so Venus and Libra will be in your 12th house. So the 12th house is about, it's a hidden house of, it's like this, the subconscious can be an escape, a retreat, retiring. So I feel, so while Venus in Libra is inherently social, and it's about like meeting people, gathering with people, with talking, pleasing, beauty, aesthetics, that kind of energy. You may, I feel like, be a little bit more hidden right now, Scorpio, or like just taking time to renew and recharge. This is also a really kind of intuitive, emotional kind of energy with the full moon in your 4th, Venus in Libra in the 12th. This is a good time to kind of recharge and renew your energy. I just want to say that. And if you need time alone, or if you need time to, this would be a good time to go out in nature, get a really good hike in, or like be with the trees and be outside and connect to the earth, that kind of energy. This is a good time to move energy, I think, for you. And because when Venus goes into Scorpio, that's kind of you like, I'm coming out. It's kind of that energy. So with Venus and Libra, renew, recharge, definitely here. So that's what I have for that. And also anything with dream work, anything with meditation, spirit connection, mediumship, all that stuff. You can definitely work on that with Venus and Libra. So, and I would also say anything hidden. It's funny because with Venus in your 12th, it might just mean that you're in relationship right now with someone but it might be more hidden or in the background or something like that. Because 12th house, it is what's hidden as well. So definitely kind of stuff going on with you under the surface, I would think, with this full moon in your 4th and Venus in your 12th. So full moon in Aquarius for Sagittarius rising. Full moon is going to be in your 3rd house of communications projects. I would just say anything communication related. Definitely you might be finishing up something, or there might just be more attention being paid to, like, a 3rd house is very talking into a microphone. That's also 9th house, I think, too. But anything communications oriented, anything with writing, it could be a writing project that you're finishing up, or just a spotlight on how you communicate. Again, this was going on last month as well, during the full moon in Aquarius, the first full moon in Aquarius that we had around July 23rd, July 24th. So, also anything to do with your siblings, your local neighborhood, and your general area that you live, your neighborhood, that kind of thing. Any kind of shorter kind of day trips as well, because it's travel. 3rd house is travel, but it's more close to you, or it's like a day trip, travel by car. So I would say definitely a spotlight on communications matters for you right now. Venus will be in your 11th. So a good time to join, to be a joiner, to join clubs, groups, organizations that with people that you kind of have shared interests with. It's also time to, I would say, to maybe pay attention to your goals or wishes or things that you want to manifest as well. In general, Venus in your 11th is a good time for you to connect with friends and to connect with other people, to network, that kind of energy. So Capricorn rising, we have a full moon in Aquarius in your 2nd house. So there's maybe some culmination or something wrapping up or something beneficial, because Jupiter's here, with money for you. So this would definitely be a focus on your finances. Maybe you're wrapping up a source of income and you're starting something else, right? But this is like a paycheck that you bring home. This is money that you earn. Definitely a focus on finances for you. And also self-worth. It can be also like a boost to your self-worth. But this has been going on since last month, because there has been a focus on your communication, on your financial houses, on your 2nd and 8th house since Leo season began. Since we had the first full moon in Aquarius on July 23rd, July 24th. So be mindful of that. And Venus is in your 10th right now. So definitely a good time for career for you, I think, in general. Good time for money, good time for career. Especially with Venus in Libra. Venus is in your 10th house of authority, of your bosses, of career and reputation. So I think that you are seen more this. I think that you are looked upon in a pleasing or beneficial way by authority figures or by the general public, right? Because this is sort of how you are seen by the general public. So more popularity during this time, but I would say definitely if you're trying to get ahead at work, this is really good energy for that. And this is just energy to kind of get along with others and be pleasing and just enjoy connecting, but especially with authority figures, bosses, career, reputation. So definitely a lot of money stuff and also career stuff happening for you around this full moon. So Aquarius rising. So you are the star of this full moon. Lucky for you. It is a really fortunate one. Yay. So, this is a very personal full moon for you. So it's anything about your identity, your life, who you are, how you approach the world, your appearance, your relationships. This is a major for you. And this is something that has been going on since the first full moon in Aquarius last month, July 23rd, 24th. And again, we have Jupiter here, that planet of luck, of abundance, of expansion. So something is culminating and completing for you. There's more of a focus and spotlight on you. And I would say also with your relationships as well, that can definitely kind of come into play here, just because the opposing house is the house of partnerships. So yeah, it's a really personal time. It's a major time to do magic, to set an intention, to manifest something in your life. When you have a full moon in your rising sign, they do tend to be a lot more powerful. Venus right now is in Libra in your 9th house. So this is a time to enjoy learning the higher learning subjects, philosophy. This is like college level stuff. This is also astrology too, or any kind of specific spiritual practice. I think I would put here as well. This might be a time to enjoy long distance travel or anything with like learning using the higher mind communications projects, or anything if you're in sales, or if you happen to be in publishing, this is also a good time for that as well. And also, this is also a legal house as well. So this is a good time to kind of smooth things over if you are working in law as well. But Aquarius rising, definitely very personal full moon for you, definitely a very fortunate one. Also, what do I want to mention? Yeah. So anywho, that's what I want to mention for you. So fortunate, personal full moon for Aquarius. Finally, we get to Pisces. Full moon in your 2nd house of, hold on, I'm going to make sure that's right. 1 second. Nope, almost said the wrong thing. So Pisces rising, your full moon is in your, okay, I could not think of that for a second. I was like, where am I? Pisces rising, your full moon is in your 12th house of hidden things, of the subconscious, of rest and renewal, and of spirituality, and for really kind of any psychic matter as well. So this is a good time. This is a maybe spotlight on mental health, on getting rest and renewal, on anything kind of spiritual or dream work that you might have going on in the background as well. Your dreams might have been really powerful lately, something of that nature. So I would also really pay attention to your dreams during this full moon as well, because it's going to spotlight all of that stuff. So, what else do I want to mention for you? And because Jupiter there is because Jupiter there is as well, if you are wanting a solution to a problem in your life or some sort of magical solution, you maybe want to look to it in your dreams, or maybe ask for it to come to you in a dream, considering you are incredibly creative and intuitive and kind of knowing anyway. Keep a dream journal around the full moon and ask for solutions to come to you through a dream, and write those dreams down. Even if they do not make any sense at the time, they will later. So I wanted to mention that. But definitely focus on mental health, rest, and renewal for you during this full moon. And again, that came up for you last month, around July 23rd, July 24th as well. So keep that in mind. But that is kind of wrapping that up in that 12th house for you. So Venus is going to be in your 8th house. So Venus, love, money, pleasure, aesthetics, in your 8th house of shared resources, of credit cards, debt, inheritance and taxes, transformation, anything under the surface, right? So this is a good time to seek maybe sources of income that you don't necessarily earn, like a paycheck. If you need to take out a loan or a line of credit, and this is also your client's money as well. So if you have client work, this is also your client's resources or other people's resources and backing you could directly benefit from during this time. This is also, like, in general, this is also a good time for psychic work, to study psychic phenomena, to meditate, to study the tarot or mediumship or anything of that nature, energy healing, anything of that nature during the 8th house. But this is an intimate house of merging. So this just might be a time, if you are living with someone that, like your sort of financial dealings with each other, it goes smoothly, or you're able to benefit from others' financial backing. So all in all, kind of psychically, really interesting energy for Pisces rising around this full moon, because we have the support from the 8th house as well as the 12th. So psychic, subconscious stuff kind of going on for you this month, as well as financial. So that wraps it up for my forecast. Thank you so much for listening. You can, again, I'll be back with another forecast next week, as well as I'm going to get some interviews going again finally. So to work with me, or to book a session with me, or to book a mini reading, video reading, click on the links in the show notes, or the links on YouTube. Make sure to like, subscribe, please leave a review, a 5-star review if you enjoyed it. It helps other people find the podcast. And I believe that's it. So, and then visit me at Dog Star Oracle, Dog Star Oracle on every social media platform. And I will talk to you next week. Bye, everybody.